All right, I got a poem to kick
You're
us
good
off.
intro. I love it, dude.
'Twas the weekend before Switch 2, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The controllers were nestled all snug in their docks, while visions of Mario danced in our socks. The gamers were anxious, their hearts filled with glee, as they dreamed of new features. Oh, what could it be? With rumors of graphics that sparkle and shine, and a battery life longer than fine vintage wine. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I leaped from my chair to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the pixels of new games aglow gave the luster of promise to all that we know. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a brand new console? Oh joy, oh dear. With a sleek little body and Joy-Cons that shine, I knew in a moment this must be divine. More rapid than eagles, the updates they came, and I whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Mario, now Zelda, now Pikachu too, on Splatoon, on Metroid, let's give it a view! To the top of the charts, to the front of the line, now play away, play
No.
all the time! As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the living room, my friends, they all flew, with a bag full of snacks and their hopes for Switch 2. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the screen the sound of new adventures, the best we've ever seen. As I drew in my breath and was turning around, down the chimney came Joy, and oh, what a sound! He was dressed all in pixels from his head to his toes, and his games were all loaded like a pro with his flows. A bundle of laughter he had in his hand, and he looked like a gamer, so jolly and grand. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled up our consoles, then turned with a smirk, and laying his finger aside of his nose with a wink of his eye, up the leaderboard he rose. He sprang to his Switch, to his team gave a cheer, happy gaming to all, and a Switch-tastic year. But I heard him exclaim, ere he vanished from sight, happy gaming to all, and to all a good
Yay.
night.
That's so great.
That's an Eric Wesslen original with the help of
That was
the AI.
amazing. That was so great.
All right, let's get this show started. All right, welcome all you excited nerds to episode 20 of the Geeqoid podcast. We are just days away from the
Let's go.
Switch 2 launch. And Jared's got his pre-order in. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get mine. I'm probably just going to sneak out of the house at midnight and go to my nearest retailer and hope that I can beat out all the nerds. But thankfully it's summer, so all the college geeks won't be there, and hopefully high schoolers aren't allowed to leave after 11 or something. So
I did
that's
have
what I'm
a
hoping on.
very interesting pre-order experience that happened. I found it last night, and most pre-orders I've done have been through either like a tech type of site or board games. Normally, it's we take your money right then and there. And then there's a window of like when it will be available. Or like in Kickstarter, it's 30 days. You drop down saying you're going to pay it, and then you know as it ticks down when the time comes. This was my first experience of this expensive after tax, $533 and change. And it did not take the money out. I did not know when the money was going to be taken out until last night when all of a sudden my account was less $533 and change. And I immediately had to spring out of my situation and go, honey, I think I need to borrow some money. So yeah. But it is now locked in. Walmart has taken the money, and it should be here sometime between 8 and 12 on opening day, release day, uh, opening day. Yeah,
Opening day.
so that's a new experience. I hope other people, well, they'll find this out a little late, but they're also experiencing similar as well. But it's locked in. It will be here the day it releases at my front door. And my wife is already changed her schedule so that she'll be here to pull it into the house before she has to go to work.
Very nice. I'd say we should probably try and plan, assuming I can get one, a Thursday
I would
night
love
gaming
that.
sesh with some
That's
Mario
great.
Kart.
Absolutely. And
Cool.
my wife's been very much like,
Yeah.
she wasn't very happy that I was like, I need your help. But she's been very supportive of like, this is something that like you are experimenting with and you are wanting to invest time and money into. So that's really cool. So thank you, Katie.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally use that with Rachel. I mean, I did tell her I was gonna cool the jets, pump the brakes on purchasing new camera gear, and I've been very good about that since my birthday. So it's been just over a month.
Yeah. She is
So
also, she thinks it's really cool because uh foreshadowing, Xbox is having what they call their Xbox showcase, which will show off like an hour and a half long, maybe even two, of just games for the future and current and what's going on. And that's Monday, June 9th. That is also when Katie and I fly to Disney World to experience more Disney stuff, but also to go to Epic Universe and go to those different parks, one of them being Super Nintendo World. And she wants a picture of me holding the Switch 2 in the park. Yeah.
well, you
And
have to have
so
one
I'll
then.
get it
So
on the
yeah,
5th.
makes total
It
sense.
will definitely go with me and I will play it. And then when I'm in the world, in that park, to see a new console and a new grand opening to the public all in one shot, I'm super nerd excited.
So I've heard some not great things about Epic Universe. Primarily that
There's not.
one, there's not
All the
enough
trees
shade.
are
So
brand new, so they are still saplings.
okay. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that there was a complaint that there wasn't enough rides.
Each park has two, at least two rides. Celestial has one. Monsters has two. Dragons has two and a half. Nintendo.
We lost Jared. Jared. All right, folks,
Oh!
we are back after some technical difficulties. If I recall, you were just walking us through all the different rides, or how many rides are at each of the Epic Universe parks.
Yeah. With Harry Potter um, having the fewest amount of rides, but probably the number one best ride. So I don't think that's horrible. I think a lot of people confuse like Disney or the other Universal to having all these rides, but if you narrow down between each park, they also have on average two rides.
Okay. So, I mean, it sounds like there's just a lot of walking probably in between the different parks. If you're a ride
It's
junkie,
much, yes, it's much more, the theme is way bigger. The immersiveness, immersion is much bigger in these new um, parks.
which is what geeks me out. Like, I think I would really want to go and see that.
Yeah, I have way more inclination to. It's not just the rides; it's immersed. You being immersed. Like I told Katie, like I want to spend a couple of minutes to look even at the brickwork, like the shutters. Like they've watching the videos is jaw dropping the amount of effort and money that they spent to put these worlds together, that each building is so detailed, so meticulous. It's I mean, it's like nothing I've ever seen. It's definitely, I think Disney is already doing it. They are having to up their game, which is good for, competition.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Disney did a fantastic job with the Star Wars park. Like that
Yeah.
really made you feel like you stepped into the universe. But I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
some of the older parks, like the Pandora, just felt gimmicky. It didn't have the same level of authenticity, I think. And
And it gives Universal has such a huge leg up that they got to build this world from the ground up and not have it be something that's already been there since the 70s. So then how do you rework things that people have had nostalgia for the last, 40 some years? And how do you revitalize, update it? Epic did not have any of those. This is like brand new. Celestial Park is their own creation, their own storyline. Like it's not even an IP. It is now, but that one is totally brand new.
yeah,
And in 10 years, people talking about the trees, in 10 years, those trees will be big and beautiful and they will give you some shade. So that's something we're thinking of. We're bringing, I mean, you should bring sunscreen anyway to Florida, but
yeah,
I'm bringing hiking sun hoodies that are super lightweight, long sleeve, but something I could still roll up or push up my sleeve because, yeah, there's not going to be any shade right now.
yeah. So talking about building parks from the ground up, I thought a new interesting piece of news from Disney is that they are building a new Disney park in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, yeah, good call, dude. I totally forgot about this.
Yeah, so I mean, money is no object when you start talking about Abu Dhabi and Dubai and the UAE. So I mean, they're probably going to go all out and create something pretty incredible. Uh,
Aladdin's gonna be like their showcase. If like France is Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin will probably be a huge focus in that area.
yeah, I mean, like the tagline is "A whole new world awaits."
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the amount of, again, you said it, the amount of money that is there, there's a huge division between, you know, poor and rich, but there's a lot of money and there are a lot of people.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is an interesting development when you look at the Walt Disney Company as a whole. Like they were one of the woke stalwarts, if you will, like fighting back against the Republican regime in Florida and supporting all this DEI and individual expression. And now they're just saying we're going to go build a park in the United Arab Emirates, which is kind of on the opposite side of the woke spectrum because of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all the human rights issues. So it's interesting to see them go from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I think the capitalists are back in charge at Disney.
Bob Iger was brought back
Yeah,
on to right the financial ship of what Disney was doing between Marvel, Disney Plus, and then Disney proper.
yeah. So that'll be interesting. Let's keep moving because it turns out I think we have a lot more stuff than we originally thought we had to talk about. I just want to go through a few things real quick. ZeniMax QA. So ZeniMax is the parent company of Bethesda and id, and it's owned by Microsoft. But their QA workers have won a tentative union contract with Microsoft. So this is probably the most recent and then largest union contract for any game developers in the world, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, props to them. Whether you believe in unions or not, I mean, QA work has traditionally just been brutal, long hours, lots of crunch, and overtime, especially around trying to get a game shipped. So, I think it makes sense, especially.
They're usually the least paid too.
Oh yeah,
Most worked in some regard,
and
and
often the
least paid.
most thankless of all the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
game
Yep.
dev responsibilities. So it'll be cool to see how that evolves. Going right along with gaming related news. I don't know if you saw, but GameStop has doubled down on crypto, and they have
Why?
decided to purchase $500 million worth of Bitcoin.
Why?
As they close more and more stores, they're just buying Bitcoin because
They are like just trying. They're just pulling at straws, trying to see what's going to keep them alive.
yeah, I mean it's kind of they got an influx of cash when all this roaring kitty stuff happened. What last year?
Yeah.
That drove the share price way up, and they were able to capitalize on that. And then they have all this cash, and I guess they thought buying some Bitcoin would be a good hedge against maybe turbulence in the dollar or something. I don't know.
Side note, like Switch pre-orders have to be helping their numbers in some way, like and getting them like some publicity, some like marketing,
Maybe,
like
but at the same time, like I don't think GameStop is going to make a lot of money off of Switch 2, like
do you
the
think
actual
it'll at
console.
least yeah, do you think it'll at least it gets their name back out there? Like it was
Maybe, but
Walmart, Target,
everybody, yeah, Walmart, Target, Best
GameStop, and Base
Buy,
Buy. It was
yeah,
those four.
like even the company I work for now, like there's special, like I'm in the involved with the digital order book and like provisioning and the merchandising stuff. So I know we have special plans for the Switch 2. So I might,
Really?
well, yeah, I mean, it's a, like we have special flags that we have to turn on and off. Like, when is this product available through our website? So,
Wow, I did not for your company anticipate they'd be like, yeah, we could
I mean,
also
we
like
have a dedicated page for the Switch 2. So
holy shit.
So they weren't taking pre-orders, so I'm thinking I might just sneak over there at midnight and be like, "I'm working. Can I have one?" So that might be my plan. We'll see. But yeah, GameStop buying Bitcoin. I don't know.
I
It's just
I hope it helps them because also Bitcoin is getting such a bad rap between uh our current political administration and a helper that has finally stepped down with a glorified key. Good job. And they both have shown that not the greatest idea. And thanks for marketing it your weird way.
yeah. I we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be fun to to keep watching.
I mean, Bitcoin crossed 110,000 per Bitcoin, and then it fell again. But yeah, this isn't a crypto podcast. Let's keep moving. I just want to call out to The Last of Us. The season 2 finale happened last week, and what a cliffhanger of an ending. I'm not going to ruin it, but Rachel and I were just kind of awestruck, and we're like, "That's how the season ends." I
So
want more.
and these are things I learned too. So I remember the video game. I didn't play it, but I did follow it hardcore, and I watched Let's Plays of it. One of the mechanically coolest games that ever came out during that time period. Storyline, one of the most in-depth dramatic stories for a video game. What I was reminded is there is no happy ending in Last of Us 2, the video game. They want to stretch this one bleak all the way through video game into 3 seasons. And we know as video gamers, that is 3 years of there's nothing happy going through. And I told Katie that I was like, I will watch this if you really want to, but this is the first game. ugh, I say it, game. It's a game. This is my first series that I'm like, I don't really want to watch this.
I mean, we basically binged it this past week, a week and a half. I mean, there's only what 9 episodes I think in the season.
Yeah.
Um, it God, I think the acting, the cinematography was great. The set design and the way they create these post-apocalyptic versions of major cities is just
Yeah.
it blows my mind. Like, and I
And
come
the
from a
CG,
computer graphics background, and I'm just blown away.
yeah. Yeah, the CG of even the first episode where you get to see the big bloaters and some of those bigger versions from the video game. I was like, dude, this looks crazy good.
Yeah, and just even the action sequences with the horde, like it's just we've definitely
Amazing.
passed the uncanny valley. Like we're
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and now we're just going through it again with AI. So we'll get there eventually, maybe. What do you got?
I don't have a lot because for me everything was a little slow.
Mhm.
And so and it's probably for the better because everybody's waiting for the Switch. And I think other companies are even like getting their ducks in order if they've been involved with Switch or working around the Switch.
Well,
So
let's just take a second and look at the actual news cycle. So a week and a half ago, you had Microsoft Build, you had Google I/O, you had a ton of AI news, and then
people are still talking about Google.
yeah, and then you have Memorial Day. So that like the holidays, that just calls for a slow news cycle. And then this coming week, you have the Switch 2, you have Summer Game Fest, and then right after, then you also have Unreal Fest, and then
And then Xbox Showcase.
June 9th you have the Xbox Showcase. So it's like slight lull, and then right back to a stupid amount of stuff that we have to cover.
I'm excited for the Xbox Showcase because I like hearing new developments. However, I think the videos, everybody, just give me some games because that's what we're there for. I want to see games. And it sounds like the showcase is going to be nothing but it's just first party, second party, and third party developments. What I am curious about, and I mentioned this to you earlier off air, was PlayStation's had a lot of the similar showcases, but we're still waiting on like Wolverine and other games that we were shown in 2001. Where are they now? Or are they like Marathon? They may get dropped or totally remade. So this is a very interesting year. I thought COVID was an interesting time period for gaming. And then I thought we had a pickup, but there's still this very long time period of you see something, you're really excited about it, and then nothing. So I hope we get something. It's coming. We're still working on it, would be even good for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's just going to be a ton of announcements, trailers. Whew. It's
Oh, this reminds me, maybe it's a side note, but maybe this correlates. CD Projekt Red announced this week that they are going to start working on Cyberpunk 2.
yeah, they have over 100 devs already on it.
That life cycle is 10 years.
So I don't think it'll be 10 years because I have to imagine they're building on top of the existing tech. They're not going to create an entirely new engine. They're probably just going to build a lot more content, build some enhancements. I mean that engine was already like, yeah, they originally had targeted at the previous generation, like the PlayStation 4 and the previous Xbox, but when they launched it, it was just terrible. But now that the
Yeah.
player base has increased for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, whatever, um, I think they're just gonna target that, and then obviously the Switch 2, and they'll have Cyberpunk 2 just be a continuance. I mean, Cyberpunk is a phenomenal game. I
Yeah,
totally
it was
see how you can build upon it.
that at that time, that was we always judged CPU and GPU by Doom. It was always the highest, which even this one, it's like, oh, you're a big game. Cyberpunk was at that time period, that version of like, this is the pinnacle currently.
Yeah, it was this generation's crisis.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But it's interesting because they're building Witcher 4 on top of Unreal Engine. So I don't think they're going to go with Unreal for Cyberpunk 2. I think they're just going to stick with, like I said, the existing Cyberpunk engine.
I was wondering that. I was wondering if they're going to use that engine into Witcher 4 or just keep almost these two separate.
It would be a damn shame to just build that incredible engine and throw it away. after one game. But who knows? Maybe they just really like Unreal Engine. We'll see. I mean, maybe that's an announcement that'll come at Unreal Fest next week because there's going to
That's right.
be a bunch of announcements. But we'll get into that in the rumor section.
If they're good, if their PR and their marketing is good, they'll have some in the Unreal Fest and they'll have some at the Xbox Showcase. So you may see a little tidbit here, and then you'll see a little bit more tidbit elsewhere. I hope.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's also not entirely up to them because they're making the engine. It's really up to the developers and how they want. But I'm sure if you're building a game on top of Unreal Engine, you're going to cozy up next to Epic.
Yeah. And then if you are then showcasing what your company, Xbox Microsoft, can do, you'll show more of that game.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else?
I think those were my people are I kind of wanted to go back to this. People are still talking about Google and their keynote, man, has floored everybody. And one of the big ones was it's called VO, but it's VEO 3.
Yeah.
The movie clips that they showed were unbelievable.
They are really good. VO3 is just heads and shoulders above everything else.
How do we quickly explain to the audience like what we saw? The two that I remember the most were they did an example of like people were like just normal goers of a car show, like a Chicago car show or whatever, Detroit show car show, were just there and then they were just asking questions. And like there was like it looked like a husband and wife or like a boyfriend girlfriend. And then the other one was they were in a post-apocalyptic like terrorizing thing, but they were talking about like I hate this script and why are you forcing me to do this? Like these dramatic moments, but they were a joke of like the,
Yeah.
and people were crying and screaming and
Yeah. Like it.
there was an old man on a porch being like, why are you showing me off like it's 2020 again?
So it's really it comes down to the realism and the emotion that you're seeing, and then also like the really cool thing is that it's not just outputting video; it's also audio on top of it,
Yeah,
which is not something that most of the other models have been doing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like when they drop VO3, it's like this is not for hobbyists, and they've made that very clear. Like if you want access to VO3, you gotta get your $200 a month Gemini
250,
Ultra or 250 Gemini Ultra subscription. And
which comes with a bunch of other
oh
stuff
yeah.
that just also blows my brain.
So I'll admit I signed up for Gemini Pro or Google Pro after the keynote. And I've been playing around with a bunch of different things with the code gen, and it's not all the way there, but it is really impressive.
A lot of then there's that correlation that Apple is definitely going to be using Gemini. And after this keynote, it's like, where could Apple, in a good way, where could Apple utilize something that right now I think this is the crisis, the cyberpunk, the doom, and then Apple is very much like, yep, we are absolutely adding that. We don't have our own. We're going to use the Lexus of what's going on right now.
Yeah, but they're fundamentally at a disadvantage because Google has this ability to integrate Gemini into every facet of the company. Like every app, they can just make it a native experience, like in Gmail
And they are.
Google
I mean,
Docs. Yeah,
they already said all of that will have it part of that particular program.
yeah.
Chrome.
And Apple, like it just feels like they're just tacking it on. Like it's not integral to the experience. And with the announcement that Johnny Ive's company is now was acquired by OpenAI, like that's just got to be a blow to Apple.
I think both of them are a blow, and they're at least trying to do the half full of like utilizing Gemini because they don't have their ducks in a row, but and they're rebranding the OSs so that there's more of a streamline, at least in people's brains. Like this is 11 and this is 18 and this is Vision 2 instead of like now it's like car manufacturer. It's 26.
Yeah. So I think WWDC, which is Apple's developer conference
Which is
later.
also June 9th.
I thought it was later in June.
Or June 10th, maybe. It's always on a Tuesday, I think.
Well, it
June 9th
kicks
to
off on a Tuesday because it's multiple days.
June 9th through the 13th.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
that whole
Crap.
week.
That is the week after.
Just
that's
also
going
when
to
I'm
be
on
a busy
vacation.
week. Yeah, I mean, I think this is really the most critical make or break WDC that I can recall.
Am I going to have to do a podcast in the hotel room?
I did it. You can do it.
Yeah, and I'll have better Wi-Fi than you.
You'll have a lot better Wi-Fi. You won't have Mexican Wi-Fi. All right. Anything else, or we can get into rumor mill?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Rumor mill topics. So a few weeks ago, we had talked about Xbox maybe unveiling a first-party mobile tablet, or not tablet, but mobile console based on the Asus ROG Ally. Apparently, a first-party device is looking less and less likely that it might have been put on ice.
Yeah, that's good. I saw it but I glazed over it. I didn't go into detail. Most likely because I forgot because there were other things. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I hope this doesn't happen. I really want them to. I feel like the Asus and Microsoft thing is kind of like Apple and Google right now. It's like, is this a Band-Aid before you can do your own AI? And is this a Band-Aid before you can do your own handheld? Because I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do with a handheld.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I know there's also rumblings that Valve might be working on a Steam Deck 2.
That one's pretty strong, actually. That rumor is pretty strong. Steam Deck's been doing really well for them. I think they've already gone through basically Nintendo's version of like a half tier up, like updating the LED screen and stuff like that. So I absolutely see a Steam Deck 2 coming.
Yeah, I think this might be the year Valve just at some point they're going to have a showcase of their own, some sort of announcement montage.
I would love to see them because the PC market is at its strongest and Steam's always been the leader for library and playing games. They do more to integrate like Nintendo, maybe not a dock to undock, but a better integration of how these two systems can really, really work. And push people to go, that would probably make Microsoft go, yeah, we're not doing a second handheld. We will just continue cross-platforming our games now to Nintendo and to PC/Steam.
I think that's got to be their strategy. I mean, I don't see really what Xbox or Microsoft gains by having a native Xbox handheld.
I wonder if it helps their R&D and their research, and like PlayStation is just dominated. Matter of fact, PlayStation, I think, swerved their own little flag and went, oh, everybody's raising their prices. We're going to do a temporary sale on everything.
I did see that. I was like, what?
It was like $100 to $150 off like certain products. And I laughed so hard. What a dick move.
This is why competition is good for the consumer.
I think they're at a place too that if they just kept it like, oh, you did 20% above, we're just going to do 20% below. because we've already blown numbers out of the water. The PlayStation 5, especially the Pro, is not selling as quickly as the 4 and less than the 5 with reason, but they're still like the leader right now.
Yeah. So the next and final. Do you have any rumors?
No, that was good.
Okay.
No, those were my like added like, oh, I forgot about these.
Yeah. So we have Unreal Fest coming up next week, and so I
I
wanted.
don't know anything about it.
So for those who don't know, Unreal Fest is Epic Games developer conference, if you will. So it's where they have their annual State of Unreal, which is their keynote where they show off all the upcoming developments and new things coming to Unreal Engine. And then they just have a few days of developer talks and kind of, it's just really geeky game dev stuff.
Wonder if
Um,
they talk. Wonder if they talk about their win to Apple.
I'm sure they're not just gonna brush that under the rug. So I wanted to just do some predictions and maybe kind of manifesting here, um, because they were surprisingly quiet at GDC in March, which is not conventional for them. Like they're usually trying to make a splash with upcoming developments or what's coming in the next version of Unreal or Epic or Unreal. Yes. So they were very quiet in March. And now that they have their own keynote and their own conference, I think,
They were holding it for them.
yeah, they were holding back. And I think what may happen is there may be some sort of AI copilot for Unreal Engine. And I don't know what form this takes, but
No, you said Copilot, like a partnership or their own version.
their own version. So some sort of LLM enabled or enhanced uh, assistant that helps you bring your vision to life somehow. I have thoughts. I'm not going to get into the details because it's way too technical and put people to sleep. But I have thoughts on how it could be implemented. There is a third-party utility that today uses LLMs to help you, but I think a native solution to Unreal Engine could really, one, enhance the developer experience, and two, it might be another way for them to generate revenue because right now anyone can download Unreal Engine for free, use it to build whatever. It's only once you hit a certain amount of revenue that you start to pay royalties. But if they want to generate another revenue stream, you have this Copilot, if you will, that's $20 a month because LLM compute is not free. So
Yeah.
you got to pay somebody, but they can skim a little bit off the top. It's not like Epic is hurting for money, so we'll see.
No, no, but I'm sure again, the 5-year lawsuit and the amount of money they had to invest into that, they would like to
Recoup.
recoup as quickly as as possible. I'm sure the investors are like,
But it's a privately held
let's
company, and Tim Sweeney is probably not the majority shareholder. I think doesn't Tencent own part of? I can't keep track of this. Um, I'm pretty sure Tim's got a lot of leeway to do what he wants, and he's fighting the good fight. And I think that gives him a lot of clout.
see the same person that also made comments about the price tag of Borderlands.
I don't think so.
It was Borderlands guy. That's a side note, but he made a very awkward comment. Yeah, I think it'd be great. And I see a plus and a minus, and that is, I just talked about how Rockstar slash Take Two takes 10 years for GTA. Like, we're not going to see an Elder Scrolls, and even that was an announcement that was 5 years ago. And so it's probably another 5 years. Fallout's probably, you know, 10 years. Cyberpunk's 10 years. And so these like I almost want to call them quadruple instead of AAA games are these long, arduous, and very expensive, like 200 million to create, a good movie, and it's way more than that to create a video game.
It's
So
2 billion with a B to make
it's
GTA
crazy.
6. Yeah.
It's nuts, man. So the AI could help generate assets background that could make it faster. That also does mean a potential reduction in staff and then where those people go. So it's a plus and a minus.
So
But you
I
could see
think,
the plus part is like it could be 5 years instead of 10 years.
yeah. So I think the net impact that AI is going to have, and this is really, this is my hope, is that it will make all the developers and everybody working in this industry and in others that much more productive. And I don't think it's necessarily going to shrink a lot of these team sizes,
I hope not.
but I think it's going to allow them to do more. And yeah, in the interim, there will be some shrinkage, some layoffs. We've always seen that. Like the tech sector in general has seen a whole bunch of layoffs because I think they're just uh, basically rebalancing for the current era in some ways. But yeah,
We're just changing faster and faster. COVID amplified things, and I don't, there's been more changes more often than I remember before COVID.
yeah, AI. It's just everything's getting faster. It's freaking wild.
What do you think could be some possible things that if they announce an AI for Unreal, what would you just like to see that would help you in your future dreams?
So, what I would like to see is, so if you think about the way the current code gen tools that Google has put out, or Windsurf, or I'm forgetting a bunch of the other companies, but basically you type in what you want to code, whether it be an app or a website, and it will literally generate the code for you, and you can run it. And so I think when I'm envisioning the way I work in Unreal Engine, it's like, oh, I want to create a quest system, or I want to uh, instantiate a certain number of objects and place them around the arena at these certain intervals. Like, I'm going even a step further than what I think they might deliver. Like, you could type in, like, oh, I want to like just describe what you want to do, and then it will do a first pass at doing all that for you.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
yeah.
create an island that's populated with trees, make it this size, and boom, creates the island, trees. Um, Here's the thing: I want to be able to just talk to it and just kind of go back and forth, be like I think that would be,
Like it's your own unusual teammate,
yeah,
like a think tank with this AI system.
yeah. I mean, just think of it: Iron Man, Tony Stark talking with Jarvis.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think so. Like, if we can get to that point for world creation, oh man, that would unlock things for a lot of indie devs, a lot of solo devs, and even people who have never dipped their toe into that water before. I think it would be a real unlock and really increase the user base.
It could unlock that creativity because
Yeah.
again, you have it's not someone, but you have something that can talk to you back and throw ideas that even though you have a master's or whatever it is and you've been in it, like you always need help. And then I like your idea of an island and trees, but it's not locked in. So once you see it, you go, oh, I'd like this here and there. And then you could go in and move those trees or adjust them how you see fit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see if that happens or not. But either way, I'm sure there's going to be some exciting announcements coming out of Unreal Fest in just 2 short days' time. Are you ready for this week's Indie Spotlight?
Yeah.
So this particular title I am very excited for because I played the original. I did enjoy it. I didn't complete it um, for a few different reasons, but the improvements and changes. I'm just going to pull up the trailer. Um, so this is Moonlighter 2.
Moonlighter 2.
So the premise of the original Moonlighter was you inherit a shop from either your father, grandfather, whatever, and you basically run a shop during the day, and at night you go through these dungeons and you basically raid dungeons to find treasure that you then sell in your shop during the day. And so it was like the action part is really what I found exciting, and like there's quests and like all sorts of different typical RPG style mechanics. Um, but I found the running the store part a little bit tedious, so I'm hoping they're making some improvements to optimize that and make it less tedious, because that
That's
was really a
interesting.
drawback.
Yeah, yeah. And I can see the correlation to what was the game you bought me? Diver Dan or whatever?
Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver, where during the day you go out to fish to get the fish, and then whatever is happening during that storyline. And then at night you go to work the sushi shop and make revenue so you can continue doing what you need to do.
Yeah, it's the exact same concept, and so I wonder if Dave the Diver got it from Moonlighter. That'd be really interesting to check. So this, I really love this new 3D style. So the original, I believe, was like an isometric 2D, very similar to like Zelda: Link to the Past.
And
Uh,
it's really pretty.
it is
Like
very
even
pretty.
very pretty, very stylized, like a very unique, cute, vibrant art style with a lot of environment assets that are moving and with the wind and clouds are moving around in this weird fantasy sci-fi floating islands. It was really pretty just the minute I saw.
Yeah. So we don't have a release date yet, but it was announced back in December of last year, and they said it was having a 2025 release date. Which, I mean, you look at that trailer's from months ago. It's very far well in development. So I think we can expect to see it easily before the end of the year, maybe late summer. And that looks like something that would be really fun to play on the Switch too.
Yeah, yeah, I immediately thought that. Again, it was something I think Katie said more than me is, and it was something that was echoed from other people on the internet. You look at the PlayStation, the Xbox, and it's a high performance set top type of experience. And the Switch in Nintendo has always been something that's more family oriented and this word fun, whatever that simple three-letter word is, that's been Switch. This is their first, I think, foray into really doing a more performance oriented upgrade and not doing something too crazy like the Wii U or Wii. Um, but there's still these weird, fun, creative things that developers can, grab a hold of and try, which is always again Nintendo. Like, here it is. You don't use it, you don't use it. It doesn't get used, whatever. Um, this game looks to be perfect when you structure it around that idea of this beautiful, fun, puzzly, storyline driven game.
Yeah. So I'm excited for whenever this drops, and I will be playing it on the Switch too, I hope.
That makes me wonder. So, thinking of the Switch, I'm really excited for this new Mario Kart that originally was for the Switch One, but they found that their creative ideas could not fit on the Switch One. And then the rest of Nintendo told lower Nintendo, actually, we're gonna put in a Switch 2, so why don't we
We're
start
cooking.
talking? Yeah, and then their imaginations got to fly with what we're about to get, which is Super Mario or Mario Kart World. Bonanza built by the similar younger group, which is a new generation for Nintendo from Odyssey. I'm really excited to experience. It's something brand new that this new generation of Nintendo developers are creating. I've never played Metroid Prime 4. But I've never played any 1 through 3, and they've all been highly regarded. You reminded me of this game that you just showed off, and we don't know a date other than hopefully 2025. I am curious why Metroid Prime 4 does not have a date yet. They still have it as 2025. I'm very curious why a bigger company, not an indie company, is still like, oh, yep, it's coming this year.
Well, so I mean, let's take a step back. Think about Nintendo and the way they release products. Like, they hadn't even announced the Switch 2 at the beginning of 2025, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, it's coming in 3 months." Like, between announcement and release, very tight window. They like to control the narrative, not a lot of speculation. So I think once they do have a date for Metroid, they'll announce it, I don't know, 3 months in advance, maybe 6
I
tops.
know too, they announced Prime 4 before the announcement of Switch 2 even was like an idea of, oh my God, it's coming out. I wonder if that has any implications to Switch 1 and Switch 2, because they do have at least a soft date of fall for Bonanza. And I think that will also, I don't know if that one's going to be Switch 1 or Switch 2. So I have to do some more research to find that out.
Yeah.
That would be easy, easy, quick search.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap?
No, I'm just, there is, there are things coming which are exciting to see what the companies have envisioned, and they will hopefully do their best to get out to us. I'm excited that in 4 days, the Switch 2 will be in this house.
And
And
hopefully you and me will be rocking out to some Mario Kart Thursday night.
yeah, yeah, that will be super neat, man. And then I'm gonna go see Epic Universe. And what a neat thing to have this world come into 2 ways at once in my life, in my world. So yeah, that's really neat, man.
You're going to have a blast. But wait, when do you take off again?
I take off on the 9th. I take off on Monday.
Okay, so we'll probably record the day before and we'll figure it out. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm free Sunday.
yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been the 20th episode. We're up to 20
That's
episodes.
so exciting, dude.
Of the
We're doing it.
Geeqoid podcast. We got to get better at publicity because we haven't grown any subscribers, but I'll work on that.
It's a slow burn, man.
Yeah, I mean we're just getting this down.
Yeah, it's just a lot of competition. There's a lot of other people who are just as good as us.
All right. Like, subscribe, do all the things on all the socials. We'd appreciate
Rate,
it.
share,
Yeah.
follow.
Only rate if you're going to give us a 5 out of 5, though.
Yeah. Yeah, like twice.
All right.
Or thumbs down twice. That's what some people say.
Love you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Love you, man. Peace.
Peace.
End of transmission.